Hey. Okay, today is Tuesday, March 24th, 2020, and it's day 4 of quarantine for me. And I think that Republicans want to kill us for money, essentially. I kind of alluded to some stuff yesterday that has really taken a life since then, but the biggest headline grabbing one is that Dan Patrick, who's the Lieutenant Governor of Texas, said in an interview last night on Tucker Carlson's show that grandparents would be willing to sacrifice their lives to make sure that the economy is going to be okay. And he basically went on for quite a bit about how he thought we should sacrifice the old people because if they survive, they want to wake up in an America that they would recognize, or if they're willing to die so their kids will grow up in an America that they recognize, something like that. He meant it. He really, really, really meant that. What they are seriously proposing in Texas and nationally, but I'll get to that in a moment, is that they don't want to have, they're still resisting doing a statewide lockdown here in Texas, and because, it's same, big bucks cronies, locking things down, that's bad for business. So they want to appease their cronies, and people will die. I mean, we have days to get this right, and honestly, not even that. It would be nice if we already got this right last week. But there's a difference between bad and total catastrophe. So hopefully things will get pulled together shortly. Almost all cities in Texas, in fact, I think all cities in Texas are doing shelter-in-place orders now. Austin's it was ordered today and kicks in at midnight. But it leaves people in rural areas unprotected, and it also means that if we get the pandemic under control in the major cities, someone from an area that wasn't under lockdown, so it just tore right through there, can come visit one of the cities and reignite the whole thing all over again. So, basically what he said was he's willing for people to die so he can keep making money, when he expounded on that. And Trump, going to the national level, basically said the same thing today. He said, and I paraphrase only slightly, that workers would be so distraught not being able to go to their jobs and work for their corporate overlords that they would kill themselves, and this part is a direct quote, they would commit suicide by the thousands. I've never had a job that I would kill myself if I could not go to for a few weeks. Anyway, and he went on to say that he wanted all of the churches to be completely full for their Easter services, which is only about 3 weeks from now. He wants everyone to be back at work, and he doesn't want to do any of these, if local places want to do lockdowns, fine, but he thinks it's just kind of bad for the economy. And he, if some people die, then some people die, is more or less his outlook. Which, considering that it seems to be totally out of self-interest, is not smart. Because the math he seems to be hung up on is that if the economy is bad when November comes around, he might lose the election. And the math he is not doing is that if tens or even, heaven forbid, hundreds of thousands of people die completely preventable deaths in an outbreak that he could have prevented, that will not go very well for him in November. So Um, Interestingly enough, he's getting pushback from Lindsey Graham, who is like a total sycophant to him, and Liz Cheney, and I mean a number of other people. I mean, at the end of the day, there might be a lot of money grubbing people looking out for big business, but people like to live. So I think he will have trouble getting all the votes he needs, or support, or whatever to get that through. But it's scary. And honestly, I mean, like, what are we? We're barely even into this thing, and he's already saying that he's willing to sacrifice people's lives for the economy. I would have liked to have thought it would have taken a little bit longer. um, anyway, so that's what's going on there. Like I said, Austin's shelter-in-place order starts tonight at midnight, and I had three very distant visitors. I had a friend yesterday night drop off some supplies that I hadn't had a chance to pick up before I concluded my business for the outside world. I had a good friend hang out this evening to just see each other face to face one last time, and then another friend wound up swinging by too, and I disinfected everything and then kept them very far apart, and then disinfected everything again when they left. So, but even that's nerve-wracking. I gotta tell you, it's stressful as someone who feels like they would truly be harmed if they caught this virus. It's just, oh my God, I feel like I have to sanitize everything all the time, keep washing my hands, and I don't know if I'm going overboard or not, but I think when the chance of making a mistake is you might die or be stuck on an oxygen tube for the rest of your life, it's better to err on the side of being sanitary. Because my roommate works outside the house, and people will, eventually drop groceries and stuff like that out, and right now I've only been quarantining for a few days, so I'm still paranoid about stuff existing on surfaces that I forgot to wipe down. But I don't know, it's moving along, and I took Rita for a walk this morning, which, again, now that we're back to weekdays, was definitely a bit better than that one where too many people got too close. Excuse me, over the weekend. But yeah, there were a number of people out there walking their dogs, but pretty much everyone, there was definitely still some people who were lacking in awareness, but I was at least able to get out of the path and avoid them. And I think my worst fear has been that, like, people will get offended, like they don't know, or they know but they're just looking for something to take issue with, be offended about someone, particularly me, avoiding someone. But it is a little liberating, actually, to cross the street to avoid dude bros at the moment. They are, incidentally, if you didn't guess, the worst offenders on the not respecting the 6-foot bubble around other people. But I'm trying to think. That's basically it. I just should mention that, like, the shelter-in-place orders are pretty much going out in almost all cities in the country, and we're up to 9 states that are doing it now. So that's positive. Then there's a relief bill that the Senate passed a version, or I don't know if they passed it, but they are working on a version that basically just bails out their billionaire buddies and screws over the very poorest people who need it the most. And then the Democrats have one over in the House of Representatives that would really help people. Paid sick leave and college loan forgiveness, or at least preventing the interest from accruing, and helping people, give people protections about being evicted during the pandemic, and giving people individual checks. I think the Republicans are aiming for that too, but it's kind of like with them, it's like a one-time check, and then that doesn't amount to a lot, and then all of the money goes to corporations. The Democrat version has a lot more literally looking out for poor people and people who are